Well, greetings, everyone. Hope you're doing well today. So, are we getting misdirected in our change work? Now, what I mean by change work is any kind of work we're doing with clients to essentially help them change, help them transform, whether you're a therapist, a coach, a hypnotist, alternative healer, whatever you're doing. Now, why I ask, are we getting misdirected? Well, I'm starting to see a trend that's coming more and more uh, apparent that we are spending more and more time looking at ideas and techniques and theories that focus more on deficits rather than resources. Now, it's kind of tricky because it feels like some of them that we are focusing on resources, but any conversation, any kind of interaction we're having that's continuingly staying in that context of a problem focused is keeping clients a lot of times kind of trapped in these impoverished narratives. A big thing I've seen is a lot of the trauma focused therapy applications. Now, some of these are very good and some of these are very helpful, but a lot of it is that if you've been traumatized or you think you've been traumatized, the way to help people is to get down deep into the trauma and get your body into the trauma and to allow all this stuff to come out. It kind of reminds me a little bit of an exorcism in a way, and I guess that could be beneficial. But what I'm not seeing as much that I'd like to see more of is exiting problem focused narratives and getting people to do things that are resourceful, activating people's strengths and those kind of things that I've been talking about for years. But I think we're kind of going backwards in a way a little bit because we're taking in new ideas, new techniques, new ways of change. And I see this across all the different change work platforms that seem to almost take us back in a psychodynamic Freudian view that the only way that you can change people or help people change rather is to focus more on the problem and to give them insight into why they have problems. Now, again, this doesn't always mean that's a bad way of working, but if that's your primary way of working and you can change the language that they're using to where they have, like for example, parts therapy has evolved into all these different types of new therapies and systems and all, and it's really the same old stuff in a lot of ways. And I mean that respectfully. Doesn't mean it doesn't work or it isn't beneficial, but a lot of times it takes a lot longer for people to access what they need more than anything are good strengths and resources. As I've stated in other videos, when life hits us and it kind of knocks us off course, what we need is not more of the thing that knocked us off course. It's something that kind of balances us back out, some strength or resource activation, then to create this homeostatic process that allows us as individuals, as clients, to transform ourselves, to solve our own problems. But the more that we spend time talking about the problem, the more time we're locked into problem focus, the more time we're asking people to really sit in depth and intense with the problem. Again, not saying that that can't be helpful, but we really also need to be focusing on getting away from this direction of the only way to help people is to have them sit in what they're trying to avoid or what they've been through, instead of really just focusing intensely on giving them access to resources that can benefit them. So if a client comes in and they are depressed, certainly your first session or so, getting information, understanding, allowing clients to tell their stories, very important. That's fine. But if we're going into sessions after sessions after sessions and it's, well, how's the depression today? Well, tell me all the things that the depression has done for you. Let's give a name to the depression and speak as if you are the depression. Now, if you had to make your depression a family member, what part of you is the depression? What are we we're still stuck on depression, and we're still tied into that loop and context that's sometimes hard to get out. So let's not be misdirected. Let's, from the first session, the first interaction, be listening. Hey, where's a positive resource that jumps out at me about the client? It could be a belief, it could be an action they've done, a hobby, whatever it is. But if they're getting some kind of positive connotation with that that gives them a strength, activates that strength, maybe some of the session needs to be focused on that. So just because the new latest, greatest thing in the marketplace looks cool and oh, it has all these really neat, odd, cool, mystical, whatever, doesn't always mean it's the best thing. It's real easy for us to get misdirected on our role as healers, as people who are there to help people, in that the way to help people heal is to help guide them in a way, kind of co-creating an experience that activates that healing potential inside them, rather than getting them locked into these pathological narratives, if you will, that, well, if they do help them, it takes a lot longer and just gets the problem oftentimes entrenched, much like that problem attempted solution paradigm that I've talked about before. So when you're out in the field, you're out looking at all the cool continuing education, the new trainings, asking yourself, okay, number one, what's really new about this? And number two, how much focus is this on helping people activate their resources, activating their strengths, activating these positive insights that lead to action rather than just more rumination? So anyway, just throwing it out. Let's focus on that. If you have a comment, question, please throw it down in the comment section. Please subscribe if you find some benefit to some of these things that I'm talking about. I appreciate your attention as always. Have a great day.